Good morning and welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Forever. My name is Moish Steigman and this morning we'll talk about emotional equilibrium and how that relates to fantasy football. The psychological concept of emotional equilibrium tells us that there are times in life when we'll be on an emotional high and times in life when we will be on an emotional low. And it's human nature to get caught up in those emotions. But what we need to do is find a center, find a place of inner peace and inner calm where we can try to stay level on an emotional equilibrium basis. We need to own and accept our feelings, be present with them, but not let those emotions define our choices and our actions. Week 1 of any NFL season often puts the emotional equilibrium theory to the test. Perhaps you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan who thinks that you can now run away with the AFC and make the Super Bowl. Perhaps you are a Niners fan, distraught about the potential of Super Bowl hangover that's rampant year after year. We all get so caught up in the first game of the NFL season that we lose our emotional equilibrium standard. And it's no different with fantasy football. We spend all offseason preparing what we think is going to be the team of the decade, only to score the fewest points of any team in week 1. Or we come out of the draft complaining and moaning, lamenting how horrible a team we have, only to blow out the favored team in the first week of the fantasy football season. But to highlight just how crazy it is to extrapolate from 1 week to an entire season, I present you with a few fun facts from the NFL from week 1. In 2013, Peyton Manning set a new record for passing yards in a season, 5,477, surpassing Drew Brees' record by just 1 yard. At the end of week 1, there are 3 players on pace, 3 quarterbacks on pace to break that record, including Matt Ryan, who would shatter the all-time record with 7,200 passing yards. The other 2 passing leaders would be Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers. And extrapolated over a full season, Patrick Mahomes would end up with only 3,376 passing yards. Not all is good news, however. In 2002, David Carr took more quarterback sacks than any other player in NFL history with 76. After 1 week of the NFL season, were we to extrapolate the totals for a full 16 games, we'd have a new sack leader with a whopping 128 sacks. I present you Carson Wentz. And finally, in 2012, Calvin Johnson set a new record for most receiving yards in a season with 1,964. After 1 week of the NFL season, we have 4 wide receivers poised to shatter that record, including 2 from the same team. In addition, there are 10 wide receivers after week 1 who would show up number 4 on the all-time receiving list for yards, including 3 on the same team, one of whom is named Russell Gage. We can see from crazy stats extrapolated over a 16-game season not to get too high or too low after 1 single game. That applies to fantasy football. It applies to your rosters. It applies to the team that you support. And certainly and hopefully, it helps each and every one of us, not just as we weather the fantasy football and the NFL seasons, but hopefully as we weather all of the ups and downs in our own lives. Here's to a happy day of waiver wires, and a wonderful week 2 of the NFL season. As always, please like this video and please subscribe to this channel to get other wonderful video content from Fantasy Football Forever.